Legends are tuned in too.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any materials produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present Girls vs. Ghosts, The Realm Walker with Kelly McCarville, live, only on Spreaker. Every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. And as always, join us in our live interactive chat by going to Spreaker.com or downloading the Spreaker app for your devices. Kelly is a respected paranormal investigator and also a very gifted medium and brings a unique perspective into the paranormal field. Be sure to follow Kelly on all her social media at Facebook, Kelly McCarville Moonspinner, Instagram and Twitter at Moonspinner76, and on the web at mysticalmoonspinner.com.
Hey everybody, this is Kelly Moonspinner, and this is the Realm Walker. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I wanted to give you guys all a heads up before we get too far into the show. I'm in Iowa, East Central Iowa, and we are having storms in the area, including tornado warnings. We are currently under a tornado warning. So if I would start getting choppy, if it gets too bad, we're probably going to end the show early. And if I would drop off, we'll just probably end the show. But hopefully, fingers crossed, guys, everything will be fine. The tornadoes are off in the distance. They're moving really slow. So we'll get the show wrapped up before they get here, and then we'll go take cover. So anyways, my guest tonight is Mr. Mike Ricksecker, and he is with Haunted Road Media. And the reason I'm bringing him on the show tonight is he has got this amazing event coming up this weekend called the Haunted Road Media Paracon that I actually get to be one of the speakers at and be one of the vendors. I'm super excited about that. So welcome, Mike. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well tonight, Kelly. Thanks for having me on.
Wonderful. Are you all ready for this weekend?
Not at all. I mean, it's a lot of work. There's a lot going on, but yeah, we'll be ready. We have, a lot of great people that are helping out. Of course, Shauna will be there as well, and a lot of wonderful people, a lot of great speakers like yourself. We have live music that's going to be there, which is awesome. John Shanahan, he was there last year too, and then
he was good.
He was. And then, of course, we have the Paranormal Investigation afterwards. So, it's going to be a very busy weekend. But, like last year, we're going to have a blast.
Absolutely. And just to add a little bit extra to the planning and the franticness here at the end, Alton's half underwater right now, right?
Yeah, so people keep asking me about that because of all the flooding, which, it is a concern. There are certain streets that are closed down throughout Alton, but Mineral Springs sits up on a hill. So it was funny last night. We had Dave Nunnally, Chris Sutton on the show. We actually broadcasted from the roof of Mineral Springs, so you could actually see some of the flooding in the background. It was a beautiful night last night. You could see the bridge and all that. But Dave made a comment that it wouldn't just be like a state of emergency if it got to the point where Mineral Springs was flooded. It would be like Noah's Ark 2.0. So
right.
we have a ways to go before it even gets up to Mineral Springs.
Well, I wanted to be sure to bring that up because, we were talking before the show went on, just saying, is it going to be okay getting there? But I want to make sure the people who are planning on attending know absolutely we can still get there. And the location is perfectly safe up on a hill.
It is. You don't have to bring your life vest, but when you're when you're traveling in, look out for road closures, because there are some road closures in the area, or like Route 67 that goes across from Alton into St. Louis. They've narrowed that down to one lane, because it's 2 lanes. It's a 4-lane highway. There's an upper and a lower. The lower's flooded right now, so they're using the upper, and they've basically squished those 4 lanes down into 2. So be on the lookout for things like that, because that would create a little bit of a delay, but it does not prohibit you from getting into Alton and Mineral Springs.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about this event. So, Haunted Road Media Paracon. Tell us a little bit about how this all got started.
We started Paracon last year basically because, people were asking for a Haunted Road Media specific event. We have a lot of great authors, and that's kind of where it started. It was like, okay, well, people want an event, we'll do like a little author thing. People can come and meet the Haunted Road Media authors, and we'll do some book signings and things like that. And then it just kind of blew up into this whole full-fledged Paracon thing where, okay, we're going to have, speakers, we're going to do some music, we'll have an investigation afterwards, all this stuff. And it worked out great. We had an absolute blast last year with it. So we just, it's at a fantastic venue, Mineral Springs Hotel, which is huge. And
yes.
Dave and Donna from It's Raining Zen have done a lot to help out with the event. So we were just like, we got to do it again. For 2019. So that's what we've done. Again, we have great speakers. We have more vendors this year. We have people from, special locations that are coming, like Dan Class from Hinsdale House is coming.
Yep, absolutely.
Sharon Ludke from McPike Mansion is going to be there. Robin Terry from Ashmore Estate. So I
saw that edition. Yeah,
yes,
I was super excited he's going to be there.
Yeah, it's awesome. Guy. So, not only is Mineral Springs represented because we're going to be there, but you have all these other great haunted locations that are represented as well.
Definitely. So Haunted Road Media, you mentioned that originally you thought it was just going to be an event to highlight your authors. Tell us just a little bit, for anybody who may not know you. I think everybody knows who you are at this point, but for anybody who might not, tell us, what Haunted Road Media is normally outside the Paracon.
Yeah, so for those 3 people that don't know, right? No, there's plenty of people that don't know, but so Haunted Road Media is a paranormal book publishing and video production company. So we've been publishing books for 4 or 5 years now. It basically started because a lot of people, I've been writing my entire life, and I've been a published author since 2004. So a lot of people would always come and ask me, hey, Mike, how do you go about getting published? And so, I'd give them some advice and kind of, set them off into the wild and feed them to the wolves. And it did end, seriously, because it is like that out there in the publishing industry. It's pretty harsh. And so, and it really felt like that. Okay, I'm feeding these people to the wolves. So I decided that instead of doing that, since I'd been through the process several times, that I would go ahead and walk people through the process and publish them myself. And so that's where Haunted Road Media really started to come into fruition. I had already been doing the video stuff on YouTube on an older channel for a while, and so I just made that a part of the whole thing too. So we have over 600, closing in on 700 videos now on the Haunted Road Media channel. So we have the book publishing part of it. We have the video part of it where, we have the investigations. We do ghost stories, urban legends. We have the live stream shows like Edge of the Rabbit Hole and Inside the Upside Down. So we're doing a lot of different things, as well as podcasts that we're putting out there now. So it's really just kind of continuing to grow. And now we have this event that we've been doing the last couple of years too. And I'd like to start branching out more from that instead of, just doing one a year, maybe do some other smaller events at other locations too. Just to throw one out there, Jesse Limecooler from Belvoir Winery has been trying to get us out there for a while now to do an event. So we might do something like that here in the next year or two.
Excellent. Yeah, I think these locations, if you can find a good one, they're absolutely something to look into. And, we talked about events on another show that I was doing somewhere. I can't even remember at this point. But, it's an opportunity for these people who maybe wouldn't have a chance to get into these locations on their own to come in and investigate with really seasoned people at this point. So I think it's a great thing.
That's a great point. We have the paranormal investigation afterwards, and instead of trying to get a team of 10 or 12 people together or even more to keep the cost down, because a lot of these locations to get into for a private investigation are very expensive. You can piggyback on an event like this. Ours is $35, and it keeps it pretty low cost for getting in there and experiencing some of these locations. We're not going to hit every single location within Mineral Springs because the place is huge, and we have a limited amount of time. But it's like 4 of the really big haunted areas, so it's pretty cool.
I was surprised. So I came to the event last year, and I was kind of a last minute tag along, so I didn't know much about it going in.
Right.
But I was surprised. It's deceiving from the outside of the building just how big it is.
Yep.
You don't realize until you're in there and you start trekking all over the place that that's a big, big building.
It really is. And Kelly, you only saw part of it.
Right. I didn't even begin to see all of it. So
there's other locations there that, you open up a door and it's like a whole nother wing to the entire location. It's really, you're right. It is really deceiving because from street level, Broadway, it looks like a 2-story building, and you don't realize that the building's set into the side of the hill, and as you look down, you can see the backside. If you look down that hill, you're like, oh, it is taller. But from that, front street right there, Broadway, it only looks like 2 stories, but no, there's a whole lot to that building.
There's a whole lot to that building, and no, I didn't even begin to see a good portion of it, I'm sure. So, but I'm excited to be able to get to go back in and look around and maybe hit some of the places that I did. And I don't remember what I'd done the day before or why I didn't stay for the whole thing last time, but I know I didn't even go up to the 4th floor last time.
Oh,
so
you did? Okay.
I have to make sure I get up to 4th floor this time after knowing more about things. So
yeah, it's there's a lot that's going on up there. I've heard that Pearl's room has been really active lately. Of course, down the hall is what we've been calling Molly's room. And we've always had activity in there, and Vanessa Hogel refuses to go in there now because of what she's felt going in. And Shauna's always been targeted every time that we go in there. But it's a girl who, met with some, some ill will there, and she's really just kind of, really touched Shauna. Which is great, but one of the times that we were in there just recently, there's actually a guy that grabbed Shauna, and it was like the first time we'd ever experienced any male spirit up there, although I've heard that they exist up there. We'd been up there I don't know how many times. There was a younger girl down one of the halls, Pearl, and then Molly, but then there was this guy that came through. We actually audibly heard his voice at one point.
Really?
Down the hall. Yeah, it was a disembodied voice. We thought Dave was in. Dave Nunnally from It's Raining Zen was coming up to talk to us, but he and Donna had already left the building, and so it was just a disembodied guy's voice. And then, moments later, Shauna's getting grabbed by this guy. So, and it was a very different energy. So we'll see what happens this time around. I
think they say too, like when there's running water, or when it's near a river, that can increase the activity. So with as fast as that water is moving and as much water as there is, I wonder if that's maybe amping up some of the activity as well.
Well, yeah, and it could be because, that water is running pretty fast right now. It's really close to the building. I mean, I say really close, but it's a lot closer than it had been. It's not going to get up there. Right. And then still you have a hole into the ground in the building. When you get down to that sub-basement that, it's filled in, don't step on it. Don't do what Coast of Adventures did and jump up on that. No.
Oh, they did not. Oh.
They did, yeah. They actually went and stepped on all that debris that's in that hole. Could you imagine if it gave way?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Dumb. Don't do that. But basically, you still have this open hole into the ground that used to tap into this old mineral spring that was down there. So who knows what kind of energy is coming up from there.
That has got some interesting energy to it. I was going to say some wicked energy, but I chose my words better because it's not wicked. It's just It's very
strong. You could say wicked with me. I spent 10 years in Massachusetts, so if you say it's wicked awesome, then...
It is. That's where I was heading, but I didn't want to mislead anybody that it was evil wicked. No, it's wicked cool. Yeah. But it's got some very, very interesting energy coming up off that well. Yeah, cool place. So let's talk a little bit about some of the speakers that you have coming in. You've got, like you said, people coming in from all over the country for this. So, of course, you will be there, you and lovely Shauna, and you'll have your stuff set up, have your books available, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we'll have the Haunted Road Media table set up with all the books. We'll have merch like shirts and hats and Ghosty. Of course, Haunted Road Roast helps you on ghosts. The coffee.
Oh, we've got to remember Mama Pat needs a Ghosty. We need to not forget.
We'll have plenty of Ghosties. We'll get Mama Pat a Ghosty, not a problem.
Yes. We have to just remember because my memory sucks. I mean, she'll be there, but her memory sucks too. So.
As far as speakers, of course, there's you. The day is starting with Katie Hopkins and Vanessa Hogel. They're teaming up again to speak together. Southern Gypsies are going to be talking about tapping into your inner witch, which would be pretty cool. They're a bunch of fun. Kelly, you're going to be talking about spirit guides. Yeah, they really are. You're going to be talking about spirit guides. We have Amelia Cotter is going to be talking about snake folklore, so that's going to be really interesting. Yeah, she's even going to have some of her snakes there. So I know some people are skittish of snakes. Other people think they're really cool. But she's going to have them there. So that'll be... Yeah,
you got an excited ooh and a oh. I'm not sure about that there.
So everybody's a little different with that. But
I'm assuming they'll be caged. It'll be fine. I like snakes.
They'll be caged.
I don't like them slithering around on their own.
I'm not going to have a 40-foot python running around the place, you know?
You never know.
It's only 20 feet, 23 feet, you know.
Oh, well, that's okay then. Perfectly normal. Sorry.
So, who else do we have speaking? Chuck Banks is going to be speaking. He's kind of closing things out. Total of 8 speakers. Basically, one on every hour, starting at 10. Going 45 minutes, get a 15-minute break. Vendor area will be open the entire time, so you're free to roam around. The live music, of course, from John Shanahan. I'm hearing emergency broadcast.
Sorry. It'll stop any moment now. Maybe.
This is a test. This is only a test.
Nah.
Or is it not a test this time?
I don't want to tell you that it's a flash flood warning because it's all coming your way, but it may or may not have been a flash flood warning this time.
Okay. Fantastic.
Sorry, Mike.
Well, we keep hearing that we're getting more and more water down this way. So, and that's what I was saying earlier. Is just, keep an eye out on the road closures. So, there may be some conventional ways to get into that area downtown that you may not be able to access. Like last year, Lee Ehrlich spent... He camped up at Pierre Marquette campgrounds north of town up the Great River Road. All that is closed off right now. So anybody that wants to come in that way, Tom McNicholas was talking about stopping in Campsville to check out the remains of the Goldenrod, because I think it was Dustin or Nick.
That's underwater.
Hadn't seen that, and then he was going to come down. It's like you can't even get over there right now. So
because that sat in the water still, didn't it?
No, or
was it just off the water?
Yeah, it was just off the water. So all that is submerged right now. But you can't get down that road 100 to really get into Campsville from the north right now because the road is closed. You'd have to come if you wanted to get into the area and take the ferry across. That's the only ferry that's still open is the Campsville ferry. But if this keeps rising like it is, they will shut that one down. All up and down that Illinois River area, the Grafton and all that is a mess right now. So coming from the south up into the area is fine. Coming across from Missouri, from the St. Louis area, like I said, they have it. One of the lanes is shut down. So just keep an eye out for road closures.
Yeah, we can absolutely get there. And like Mike said, it's totally safe. Sitting up on a hill, looking. It's got
the building itself is in a fine area.
It's gorgeous.
Alton is called Alton is nicknamed the Bluff City because it's like there's the water and then boom, you have these bluffs. So, yeah.
And the ballroom that we're in for this convention, guys, the wall that's along the river, it's all glass. So you can look at it and you look out over the water. It's so pretty.
That is really cool. You can look out over the Mississippi River from the ballroom. Yep.
I was going to say, so Lee Ehrlich should be like totally in his element with all the water around.
Yeah.
He is a unique investigator.
He is really unique because he does a lot of deep sea diving. He's a world-class scuba diver. He does a lot of work in his I don't know, quote unquote, real life. He do like a lot of deep sea salvage. He's been down in a lot of old wrecks, and so he was actually witnessing and seeing a lot of supernatural paranormal activity down in these old shipwrecks. And so he's done a lot of interesting work in the water, and he even has a water-based EVP method using Mineral Springs was a great location because there's a couple of different fountains throughout the building, and so you can actually get the voices coming off of the water like that. And so he introduced us to this method about, I want to say maybe 3 years ago or something like that. And we have a video out there called Voices of Mineral Spring that really has some fantastic I say they're EVPs, but we were hearing them with our own ears, so it was disembodied voices that we were capturing on audio. So he's going to be talking about that during his presentation at Mineral Springs this weekend.
Yeah, that's an amazing place, definitely. So, sorry, not an amazing place, an amazing way of investigating. I knew what it meant. He had to. I'd heard that because he's friends with a friend of mine. We've got a mutual friend, and so I was asking him about it. It's just crazy interesting. So,
it's really different.
So we had a question in chat, and I wanted to get back to it because I saw it and kept going. So Darren wanted to know, what is the most wicked cemetery you have been to?
Wicked cemetery, like. Wicked,
I'm
wicked
sure
as
cool,
in evil,
amazing.
or like wicked.
Yeah.
Cool. The Wicked Good Cemetery. Okay, that's a interesting question because we do a lot of cemetery work, and we've started a project with Finding Lost Cemeteries, and so we have a lot of different cemetery videos out there. A personal favorite of mine, as far as, because I love a lot of the old, sculptures, artwork, masonry work, all of that, whatever you want to call it. And there's a lot of that fantastic work at Lakeview in Cleveland, Ohio. They have mausoleums. They're like it's its own little town. It's like a whole row of mausoleums, and they go up the hill, and it's crazy. It's like all these little buildings all centered around each other, so it makes like a little town. Fantastic sculptures that are there with angels and like knights, if you can believe it, like knights in armor. These. John D. Rockefeller's grave is there, and it's like this massive obelisk. It's like a miniature Washington Monument, really. So just all these fantastic sculptures that are there, and just historic figures. Rockefeller's one. Elliot Ness, who is the one that did in Capone, is buried there, and which president is there? Garfield is buried there. Is a huge. It's an entire building that is his tomb, and you go to the top of that, and you can overlook Lake Erie from there. So it's a fantastic cemetery. I love it there.
Wonderful. Sounds like a neat place. I love the ones that have the mausoleums. I don't know. There's something about them. They're just majestic. So I thought I saw another question here. Sorry, guys, I'm multitasking here, and I shouldn't be.
Oh, I know it's like when you're a host. That's what you do.
It is. But with the storms, it's adding an extra little trying to pay attention to things. Right. So,
but if he wants to check out our cemetery videos, we have like a whole playlist on cemeteries on our Hunter Road Media channel. So it's youtube.com/Hunter Road Media. Go check out the cemeteries playlist. It's you'll like it.
Again, for anybody who doesn't know you, you've got a couple podcasts that you do as well. He's on YouTube, and he's, like you said, he's got hundreds and hundreds of videos out there for that. But the podcasts that you have, you guys want to tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, the podcast, Edge of the Rabbit Hole, Inside the Upside Down. So the shows really start on YouTube. We broadcast Edge of the Rabbit Hole, Inside the Upside Down on Tuesday nights, starting at 8:30 Central. And then we end up converting those over to podcasts that are on like Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, all that. But then we throw in some extras on the audio podcasts as well. So if you go to those different platforms, we have for Edge of the Rabbit Hole, we have on Monday nights what we've started calling the Rabbit Pellets, a little something extra down the rabbit hole. And so these are Vanessa and I, and my co-hostess, Vanessa Hogel. And instead of doing like the full, hour and long show where we're interviewing somebody, we just take a supernatural topic, and for about 10, 15, 20 minutes just kind of just roll with that topic for a little while. And so, like I said, it's a little something extra. With Inside the Upside Down, it appears on the Mike Ricksecker Audio Journey podcast, again, on all those different platforms like Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn. And for the extras, sometimes it might be like a little Facebook Live that I did, like I was traveling somewhere and I wanted to comment about a location that I was at. Or sometimes I'll just monologue about a specific supernatural topic, or somebody will ask me a question and I'll be like, oh, that'd make a great podcast. And so I'll get out on there and make a podcast. So you get some extras in there. Like I said, that was Mike Ricksecker Audio Journey. So you get Inside the Upside Down and then in those extras on the podcast too.
Right. Definitely something to check out, guys, if you haven't ever listened to him. Like you said, he's got the shows with Shauna and Vanessa, and they're a hoot when they get all together. So definitely wants to listen to. One of my personal favorites that you have coming into the show is Mr. Coyote Chris Sutton, of course. And he is an Alton native, so he's been there quite a bit. When he comes into the location, so again, if anybody doesn't know Chris Sutton, he's a shaman, and he comes in and does drumming rituals. How do you feel that affects the location?
That's a great question, because we had him on the show last night, and we were supposed to do a drum circle down in the very depths of the sub-basement. And we almost got it figured out to wire it up down there, and it was just we were running out of time. So we are still going to broadcast from down there one of these days. But Dave was like, "Well, we could always go up to the roof," and so that's what we did. We went up to the roof last night, and Chris was there, and he had his drum. It's really interesting. We were feeling a lot of energy last night, just doing that, even from the roof, not even having to be all the way down there. But he does that, and he will be doing that. At the Paracon this weekend, just before. I think he plans on doing them during the Paranormal Investigations as well, but he's going to be doing some before the Paranormal Investigations. We're still kind of working that out, but I think we've kind of agreed that he's going to do a little bit of work beforehand down there. And, with the shamanic drumming, basically it's, you're being put into a trance state so you can better connect with that spirit energy. And last night, that was the first time I've ever sat in on one of his drum circles, which is kind of weird because I've known Chris for a few years now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was because he does different rhythms and different songs. Right. It puts you. We did 3 of them last night, and it kind of puts you into a different state with each one. And Shauna, who was right next to me, was also being affected in those different states as well. So, people last night were saying that, I think it was the last one that we did, that they weren't just hearing Chris; they were hearing like multiple voices. And I know he was, really. Feeling amped up after that one too, that he had really tapped into something with that one. So, at a location like Mineral Springs, you're right there along the water, of course. There was a lot of Native American activity that was around there. Right up the road is the Paisaw Caves, and they have the the big painting on the side of the caves, and where a lot of the Native Americans in the Paisaw activity was up there in that area. I mean, it's just a couple miles north of town. You can't get to it this weekend, sorry, but so all that was going on there. I think doing the shamanic drumming there, you're tapping into not just spirit energy, but like old spirit energy that's been around for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. And it is just kind of, the whole town has just got a vibe to it, and you can tell the history. There's just history, and there's energy, and yeah. Yeah,
there's, a lot of stuff that's happened there. Of course, there was the old prison that, it was a federal prison for a long time. Then it was shut down for a couple years. They reopened it during the Civil War, where they housed a number of Confederate prisoners. And, so you have all that energy on that side of town, which is not too far from Mineral Springs. But then, there was a smallpox outbreak that was there. And those people were quarantined on an island out in the middle of the river. The island is no longer there. They're quarantined there. The people that died there were buried right on that island. And in the 30s, when they were putting in a dam, they obliterated that island, and I guess forgot people were buried there. And so when they were digging into it, they were digging up these bodies. And so for decades, bones were washing up on shore because they had dug up this island. Yeah. So you have desecrated graves that, people that are still, not rested because their graves are dug up, and they're just bones are floating around in the river.
I had not heard that part.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a special on that coming up here. We've been waiting for the water to go down. It keeps going up. We're going to be doing a special Alton video on that, because we started a Alton video series. We did the filming for part of it last year. We released the one this year where we've been going back into a lot of the old ghost stories and news articles from around town and kind of uncovering these ghost stories that have been lost to time. There are ones that are associated, with all of this.
That's really cool. So what has been your most interesting experience at the location?
Most interesting experience at Mineral Springs. Wow. That's tough because we've had a lot of stuff happen. I was talking about, with the water-based EVPs earlier, it was extremely interesting because I'd never done those water-based EVPs before. Mm-hmm. So that was very memorable just on that alone. A lot of the stuff up on the top floor concerning Molly's room, when we put the video together last fall, it was kind of almost like a compilation video of a lot of our investigations, and just realizing how did this disconnect? I think it disconnected for a second.
It paused for just a second, yeah.
Okay.
Are you back?
Where did it pause at? I think I'm back, but
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. The light went out for a second. It was like, not the light, but the little network light on my computer kind of went out for a second. I was like, So yeah, Molly's room, a video that we put out last fall, and you can see all the different, from investigation to investigation to investigation up there that we conducted, how things continued to amp up in that room, and Molly was revealing herself more and more and more. It's like I want to talk about, the time where, we were in the room. As we were walking out, you could distinctly hear a female voice, and Shauna felt like somebody was trying to pull her back into the room. We went into the next room anyway, because that was kind of our game plan. And then the chair, moved across the floor back in Molly's room. So we went back into that room, and then, we caught an EVP there. It was something like, why did you leave, or something like that. I can't recall it exactly afterwards. So, that was significant. But last Paracon, got to rope the Paracon back into this. That's when. That's when Molly really revealed herself. It was more of what happened to Shauna. I'm just gonna throw all these things in there. So that's when Molly really revealed herself. That we're sitting there. There's only three of us. It really simmered down. Not simmered down. That's the wrong term to use. But a lot of people had left as you get later into the night. So the building had kind of quieted, which kind of means you can tune into a lot more going on. And that's when Shauna started picking up on, somebody was in the room. She caught an M name and she got poked in the arm. And then, she was like, well, is it Molly? Because the name Molly flashed into her head. And this wave of energy, she got nearly knocked off her chair. I'm sitting kind of next to her, and it was like she almost ended up in my lap. I got blown backwards. It was like, whoa, what in the world was that? And the next time that we were up there after, it was a couple months later, we're back in that room, and it's during the day. So a lot of people just like to investigate it, and I know stuff happens during the day too. And this is kind of one of those, when using an EMF detector, people are always looking for the spikes and stuff like that. This is one where it kind of like worked in reverse. So, we're just kind of sitting there. It was the day Shauna had made Zara the zombie doll down in one of the, they're doing a make your own zombie doll thing downstairs. And so we just had her sitting on the chair between us. And I have my K2 meter out, and it's like, baseline reading that was, it was, a straight, whatever the second light on that is. Every once in a while, I'd get up into the 3 a little bit, but it was kind of like steady on the 2. I was like, man, what the heck? There's a real strong EMF in here right now. So, all of a sudden, Shauna had seemed like a little bit of a shimmer between her and the doll, which was kind of weird. I didn't see it, but she had seen it. All of a sudden, the light on the EMF meter just went out. Like, boom, it was totally gone. I was like, okay, where'd it go? And so I'm moving the thing around, kind of looking for it. I was like, this is weird. It just totally, evaporated. So I'm looking for it. And all of a sudden, I look up and I notice Shauna's crying. Like, what in the world happened here? And so, I was asking, okay, what happened? And, she just suddenly just came so overcome with grief and raw emotion. So it was like these number of different things happening all at one time where, she saw the shimmer, the EMF. We're thinking that maybe there was an energy that was in the room, and it just like ended up landing itself right on Shauna, which is why she ended up breaking down. So,
right.
That room, I know you're looking for, okay, what was the one time? And it's just kind of a culmination of all these times up in that room. There's just so many things going on there.
I remember her talking about that before too. So just to give you guys a heads up, if my phone goes off again, we just had another tornado warning and our sirens are going off. So my phone may very well go off again, but it's the southeast corner of the county, it looks like. So I'm fine.
Apparently I had a little network blip, so
yeah. Oh, good.
Trying here.
It's all good. But just giving you guys a heads up that it may go off again. So, so there was a question that said, other than Mineral Springs, what would you say is the most haunted location that you've been to?
Been to a lot of haunted locations.
I know. It's so hard to pick, isn't it? When you've been to so many, it's like, and you hate to point one out and say, oh, this is better than that one, but
right.
I'm going to ask you anyways, what's the most haunted location besides Mineral Springs?
Yes, I like the question better, what's your favorite, than the most haunted. Which even saying, what's your favorite is difficult.
Yeah.
Because there's so many great locations. Most haunted, my time at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was just like insane. So that one was great. The Stone Lion Inn in Guthrie, Oklahoma. That one's like a favorite. It's like my favorite haunted house, and so many things happen there, especially the one day that we were investigating, where it was just like, we have a drawer slamming itself shut. I caught a white wisp on the camera. There's things falling off the wall. Seeing shadows that night. Doors opening and closing on their own. I mean, that was just. I've been there, probably 5 or 6 times. But that one particular day was just like off the charts. So. I really love Ohio State Reformatory. At St. Joseph's Hospital, when you get in there in Lorain, Ohio. A lot of places. Old South Pittsburgh Hospital was another that I got a lot of interesting activity at. So there's a lot of places.
I was watching your live from the Ohio State Reformatory when you guys were down there, and that's a place I definitely have to get into. It was pretty cool. I wanted to yell through the phone, Mike, turn this way, go that way.
Yeah, you have to get there one of these days. That place is crazy. Love it there, though. Love it.
Yeah, it's super cool. So just because there's the potential, at least, that we're going to lose our feed here, why don't you tell people where they can find out more information about the Haunted Road Media Paracon?
Sure. hauntedroadmedia.com. Just kind of scroll down the page a little bit. You'll see all the information there. You can also go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/hauntedroadmedia, and check out the event for the Paracon. And basically all the same information's in right there, and end up linking you back to hauntedroadmedia.com anyway. But yeah, admission is $5, so it's real, inexpensive to get into.
Exactly.
The Paranormal Investigation is $35. So, and then it's a great, it's jam-packed with a lot of stuff, but it's an absolutely great day.
And there's a ton of vendors. I mean, we've highlighted a few guys, but there are so many other vendors that are going to be there on top of that,
It's interesting. One of the vendors is going to be there, Baphomet. I think I came across them on Instagram, and they sell Gothic-themed bath accessories.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really cool. So they got, just imagine like all the stuff that's in your bathroom, like from, toothbrush holders to like soap and just, whatever. They do all that stuff, and it's all Gothic themed. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, that sounds super cool. Yeah, that sounds cool. Guys, this is definitely going to be an event. We mentioned we've got Lee coming in from Florida. Dan's coming in from New York. Southern Gypsies are coming in from Virginia. Adam Tillery, who's one of Mike's authors and illustrators, is coming in from Kansas, I believe.
Yeah, he's coming in from Kansas. He'll have a bunch of his illustrations as well as his books. So, yeah.
He's got his own books, but then he also has illustrations in some of the other people's books as well, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, he's illustrated each of the Encounters with the Paranormal books. He's illustrated Kat Gash's My Life in Midst of Paranormal, and then both of Katie Hopkins' books he's illustrated.
Yeah.
So he's done a lot of work with us over the years, which is fantastic. Also, there's going to be the Historic Goldenrod Showboat exhibit. So
yes.
It burned down, a year and a half ago now. But they had, because of all the legal wrangling that was going on, they had already offloaded a number of artifacts off the boat. So those things were salvaged. They're in the process of trying to figure out like a museum and things like that for the Goldenrod. But like last year, they had a lot of artifacts out. They're going to bring back a lot of those artifacts, mix in some new ones that they didn't have out last year. Plus, they have acquired it was an old printing press that had been used to print like the playbills and the posters and all of that, like way back in the day. This is before, and we always talk about Captain Minke, who ran the showboat for decades, but this is before Captain Minke. That is actually now the oldest artifact that they have that's related to the Goldenrod. They're going to be bringing that. So
that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a thing to bring with them. I'm guessing that's not exactly small.
Yeah, it's not the whole press itself. It's the plate, the printing press plate.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I said
thing.
press and kind of cut it up. Yeah.
Wow, that's going to be fun getting that in there.
Yeah, it's pretty good size. Yeah, but it's made of wood. So and what's kind of cool is like some of the ink is still on there. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, the Showboat was a place that was near and dear to you and Shauna, I know.
Yeah.
Do you want to share some of your experiences before that burned down?
Yeah, that was probably one of my more significant paranormal experiences. I always talk about the shadow person experience when I was young. That would probably always be like the most significant, but I would have to say the second most significant was probably Goldenrod Showboat, where we had, anytime we went on there, we had something happen. But the one particular night, it was actually the last paranormal event that was ever run on the Showboat, last public event, where we called it Coast of Goldenrod. Chris Sutton was out that night, and we had a lot of people come visit. But after everybody had gone, it was just me, Shauna, her friend Tara, who's also a medium. We're just kind of hanging around, kind of shooting the breeze, and it was. I've told the story a number of times on my channel and other places, and it's a long story, but just to kind of make it short, it was this illuminated ball of light that came into the room and started dancing around all over the place. The girls thought I was crazy at first because they didn't see it, because it kind of like went to the floor first, and then it was like this bar of light instead of a ball, and kind of did this wavering thing, and then it was back up as a ball of light dancing around. But it was doing this for like a good 4 to 5 minutes. Because we've run the event, all the the batteries and the cameras were basically juiced out, and all I had was audio going at that time. So we have like a 4 to 5 minute audio clip of us exclaiming and talking about it, going back and forth and all that stuff. I wish I could have gotten that on video, but that was really, really wild to visually see this thing like that dancing around all over the place. And it wasn't one where it was like, oh, I saw this ball of light over there, and it was like quick, and something just kind of dashed off somewhere. No, this thing we were watching all over the place, for a sustained period of time.
That's very cool. And yeah, I know I'd heard that story before too, but you guys had such neat experiences there, and I know it was something that you guys loved. So
yeah.
Very
it's
cool.
A shame it's gone, because we were just starting to get into some deeper research with that, with Charlie, and kind of rediscovering where his room had actually been, and realizing, well, there was this one place on the second floor that every time we walked through there, it was just like this massive energy charge, and there's no power out there, so it's nothing like that. Right. And we would see, shadows, move through back there. There's one time that Shauna saw a shadow go through there with like two little, what she calls twinkles, kind of like just chase after him. Mm-hmm. Like, what in the world's going on there? A number of times will see a shadow standing in the doorway over there. And it goes all the way back to the very first time I walked through there. And I just got this charge of energy, like, whoa, there's something going on here. And we had just learned that was actually Charlie Minky's, Bill's brothers. That was his bedroom area. After the remodeling, it became something completely different, because they had like a restaurant and all that stuff up there. So it was actually like this little galley area, like serving station sort of area. And discovering that it was his bedroom, and he was linked to Victoria, otherwise known as Annie, the girl who was once found dead next to the Goldenrod Showboat. She ran out into the St. Louis night, and next thing we know, she's dead after an argument with her father. But they were arguing about her relationship with Charlie. So with that dark energy, realizing it was his bedroom, there's this other story associated with the Goldenrod, with him and this girl who wound up dead like that. It's like we wanted to get deeper, and try talking to him a little bit more and discover, it is, does he have some sort of, remorse? Is that why the area is so negative? Does it have to do with Annie? Any of that sort of stuff, but we never got a chance to do it.
Yeah, and that's just unfortunate that happened that way, but cool place.
Yep.
So you guys are at Mineral Springs all the time. And the other person, obviously, that I hear talk about it all the time is Chris. And I think when you guys are in a location, as often as you guys are there, the spirits that are there become familiar with you guys. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, it's true. It's just, like any of our human relationships. I mean, these are still humans. They just don't have a body. So, you keep going back, you keep going back, I say you build a rapport with them, and a lot of times you actually, you will build friendships and relationships with these spirits. So, yeah, if you frequent a location as often as we have, like Mineral Springs, you will definitely establish these relationships and start getting better interaction. I guess, as a paranormal investigator, keep that in mind. If you're going to a location for the first time, you're not going to be able to just sit down and just, really, have these, lengthy discussions with some spirit that's there, because they don't know you from anybody, so, playing the 20 questions game and, bouncing all this stuff off of them. I mean, that's especially some of these, bigger locations where they're getting that all the time. You're not going to get the reaction that you want because they don't know you yet. But you keep going back. They're like, oh yeah, that's Mike and Shauna. So okay, we'll sit down and we'll chat.
Exactly.
We'll visit. Just like any other human would.
And I brought that up for a reason, because I think that because you guys will be part of the investigation this weekend on Saturday night, having you and Shauna and Chris and Dave, I had to stop and think of his name, sorry, all present there, and having the spirits be familiar with you, I think that the interaction that's going to happen throughout the night will be increased, because like you said, they're comfortable with you, they know you guys, they come out more. So I just think that this is, this is a golden opportunity, guys, to be able to come out and investigate Mineral Springs if you haven't. And if there's ever going to be location or activity in the location, which there is, even if they're not there, but if there was ever going to be, this is going to be the night when you get all of these people together, and add in that there's going to be maybe people that they don't recognize, but people who have abilities, which also draw on the spirits. And I'm excited. I have to admit, I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, it's going to be another great time. And Kelly, I think what you'll get while you're there is, because you'll be returning, I think you'll start to feel, even more at home there. I think that's what happens over time. The more you go and visit, the more at home you feel in the building.
Well, and it wasn't at all uncomfortable even the first time I was there. I mean, there's some places that you go into that have activity that's kind of like, you feel like you're looking over your shoulder all the time, and that you don't know what to expect, so you're a little jumpy. And that's not at all what I got there. It was very comfortable walking around. Probably the place that I got most weirded out was in the basement. But I think that was my own mind working on that, because I have this ridiculous fear of being trapped underwater. And I thought, well, there's a well, it could fill with water. And it was just my brain running rampant, I'm sure. So. Yeah.
I mean, there's, because it's such a big building, it does have its couple little dark places. The well area, surprisingly for a lot of people, is not as dark as some would expect. So it might have been, something playing on you.
I don't think it was spirits at all. Yeah. I don't think it was spirits at all. It was just my brain and thinking, okay, you're underground in a place that would hold water, and it has its own water source. You know, and my brain went weird places.
But the couple of pool areas. So the main pool, there's an area back behind it that a lot of people pick up on something a little bit darker. It's where William is supposedly supposed to hang out at, and we call him. If it's him that's also in the one corner, we call him Mr. Fast and Grabby, because he's been a little grabby back there.
Excellent.
And then the men's pool, which you wouldn't have seen the last time. No. Shauna refuses to go in that pool. So I've been okay down there, but she picks up on something there that she doesn't like. So
right.
So it does have its couple little dark spots, but for the most part, where we're going to be, not so much. It'll be fine.
Definitely. So I'm going to ask a question prior to asking the question in chat. So I know that you have done a lot of presentations on shadow people, and you've done a lot of your podcast and YouTube videos on shadow people. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about your thoughts on what shadow people are and how that works?
Yeah, I'm writing a book on shadow people. So Most shadow people, I mean, there are shadows that are human spirits that, for whatever reason they can't manifest fully or whatever the deal's going on, that they are human spirit and can't fully form, and they come across as a shadow. There are those, but for the ones that are shadow people, not human, I believe that they are interdimensional beings. And you want to talk about how that works. This can get a little bit detailed. I mean, there's a lot that we're still discovering too. So, right now, that's my opinion that they're interdimensional beings, and I reserve the right to to change my mind on that. But it just goes from my observations and from the reports that I've heard from a lot of other people. The most significant experience for me that made me believe that, and I've had a lot of experiences with shadow people. In my very first one, there was a shadow person that actually physically interacted with me. But the one that made me think interdimensional being was, we were at a restaurant called Johnny V's. We were done with the investigation. I'm just walking into the kitchen, do kind of like a last photo suite of the place, and all of a sudden I see this shadow just real quickly just dart across the room, and there's this metal swinging door that was on that side wall. It's just real flimsy. You touch it and the thing just flies right open. And you heard this shadow bang into it, but the door didn't move at all. And so, I'm calling out to the others, hey, did you hear that? Because they weren't anywhere nearby. There were a couple were up in the bar area, a couple were out in the restaurant area. Nobody was near the thing. And I started asking questions. You guys throw something at the door, or, whatever, which if they had thrown something at the door, I would have seen it move. Did not move at all. So it made me start thinking, okay, so maybe it's kind of almost like the movie The Others, where, it saw me as a shadow or a ghost or whatever it may have seen me as. Mm-hmm. It got scared and took off, and on its plane of existence, perhaps that door, it actually went through that door and that door opened, but because for whatever reason or however it worked, that our planes of existence, our dimensions were overlapping at that point in time, perhaps the sound wave, that resonance, echoed across both planes of existence. So even though I didn't see the door move, I still heard it. So that's where I really started honing in on, I think these things are interdimensional beings. I reserve the right to change my mind. So you said that was one question. There's a follow-up?
The follow-up was, what location had the best shadow people that you've experienced?
Well, Johnny V's was one for sure. I've seen shadow people at Stone Line Inn in Guthrie, Oklahoma. I've seen shadows as Ohio State Reformatory was another that I've seen shadows at. Trying to think, because I see Goldenrod Showboat was another. There's a lot of different locations where I've seen shadow people, and a lot of times they're just standing there. I think that's when it comes to shadow people, and why people are always scared of them, is that people fear what they don't understand, and a lot of times shadow people are reported to just be standing there staring at you, and it's real freaking creepy. If you're seeing this black form that has no features for the most part. Sometimes people see them with red eyes, sometimes see them with hats and all these things. That they're just standing there staring at them for whatever reason. It creeps people out. But to me, though, that's okay. They might just be whatever it is, whatever they are up to. Maybe they're just supposed to be observing and taking notes or whatever. Who knows? Or maybe they're just curious. We don't know. That one of Johnny V's, it was like I scared it. So certainly not malevolent. Probably one of the crazier ones, definitely one of the crazier ones, was the crawler at Black Bear Church out in the middle of nowhere in Olive Township, Oklahoma. So that one was a really significant experience there, where it was, it was circling us around the floors, the ceiling. At one point, it hit the floor because it kicked a bottle or knocked a bottle across the room. The psychic medium that we were with at the time said, well, we should sing some hymns and say some prayers. So we were saying prayers and singing hymns and all this stuff. And it finally went away. So maybe that recharged the energy and kind of scared it off a little bit or something. I don't know. But that one was really, that was a really pretty significant one.
Now, how did you get the crawler? Because obviously, and you've heard my story. So when you said the crawler,
Right.
my brain went to, oh my God, I'm not crazy. Mike's had an experience
than your woman.
too.
Yeah, different than your woman. Because this one, again, I mean, it was, you couldn't tell if it was a guy or a woman or what. I mean, again, I'm thinking interdimensional being. There's a lot of stories associated with Black Bear Church about people conjuring things up there. Whether or not they're true, we don't know because we didn't witness those things happening. But there's some evidence of maybe people were doing some animal sacrifices there. We don't know. So it could be conjured up from some other realm. But it was so fast, it was like a blur to try to see. And, it's, you're talking like these outstretched, lanky arms and legs and just the way it was moving. It was just so damn fast. Yeah. There's with your story where it's a woman down the hall and she's staring at you. I mean, you had all that back and forth, and then she hit the floor and came at you. It's like, okay, that was cool that you. I mean, I know it scared the hell out of you, but it was cool you got to see that it was a woman and she's doing that. And I've heard stories like that where, one of the houses that we investigated 2 years ago in Missouri, the one girl there was reporting that type of activity with a person. It was a guy that got on all fours like that going up the stairs.
Yeah, no. See, it still creeps me out just thinking about it, but yeah, it was definitely something to experience. But darn, I thought maybe you'd had something like it too, because like you heard me say, I just sound crazy when I tell people.
Yeah, it was a different experience. Yours seemed more like a human spirit, but why it went down all fours like that, I don't know.
Well, and she moved way too, and she was just a human. But I mean, they don't have the limitations that we do, I would guess. And I mean, yeah, she moved way too fast.
Yeah, maybe because you wouldn't move or whatever. Or maybe she's like, all right, I'm going to just go into ultra creep out mode and scare you off.
It worked. It definitely worked. Yeah. So Shay was wondering, do you believe in tulpas?
Interesting. The idea.
I'm going to stop you for a second. What is a tulpa? I don't even know what that is.
Oh, okay. So, I was going to kind of start that. So, tulpa is basically it's a thought form. So that goes back into, Far Eastern, ideology, where it's the idea that you can bring a thought to life. In a more modern sense with tulpa, it's this idea that people, like a mass amount of people believing in a certain type of entity or whatever, that a different entity will catch on to the big one today is Slender Man. A lot of people think that, Slender Man, even though it did not start off as real, that it started as a Photoshop contest, that there's an entity out there that took notice, hey, all these people are really into the Slender Man thing. I will actually take the form of it and become Slender Man, even though it isn't really. It took on the form of it and now really is Slender Man. So that's the modern conception of a tulpa. But really, it's this belief that you can make something exist in our plane of existence from a thought.
See, and I wonder, there's part of me that wonders, with the woman that we were talking about crawling down the hallway with me at Melbourne, I do somewhat wonder if there was a way that she got into my head and poked around and went, this will scare the shit out of her. And, because it's one of the things that just, it weirds me out. And I don't know, I've thought that before, that like she somehow figured out exactly what to do to make it as scary as possible. So would that be kind of the same thing? That almost seems interesting. The thing is with that, she was already in her, because she didn't actually change from an old woman into something else, did she? She stayed as an old woman when she started crawling? Did we lose Kelly? I think we lost Kelly. You were breaking up.
Okay. I don't know if it's because Shay seems okay. So I think Kelly's breaking up. Yeah. Yeah. We're losing Kelly a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask you if you can hear me now. Did she ever change?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Did she ever change out of being the old woman?
No.
Okay.
She always looked like the old woman. She just went from a quiet, normal old woman to a creepy as hell old woman.
Yeah, so I don't know.
But she looked the same.
Right. So I don't know if she necessarily read your mind or anything like that. But I mean, I guess if she did, I wouldn't call that a tulpa. I would call that more of just trying to creep you out with something you're scared of. I mean, a thought form is basically you're putting it out into the universe.
Almost like manifestation.
Yeah, it is a manifestation, and it's not going to happen instantaneously. It's going to take some time and some energy to really put into this and make it happen and make it exist. With Slender Man, it's a bunch of people, if it's true. It's a bunch of people coming together with the same thought. So in this entity picking up on all of that. So with the Buddhist thought form, it's something that you're basically going to have to meditate over and put a lot of energy into to make that manifest.
That's interesting. I think it's neat that with as long as we've done this, that we can still hear things and learn things that we are new, and that's part of what I love about doing this is there's always something new that I'm learning. So that's cool. I did not know about those. Okay, I thought I missed one other question real quick. Oh, it was Shay. So she said, so is it a tulpa or seeing your fears? So I don't know. She might have meant it. That might have been a rhetorical question. So
okay.
Okay, so I think because I am getting a little bit choppy here and we're a little bit over an hour, I am going to, I always end my shows, and I guess I didn't tell you this ahead of time, I usually end my shows with just doing a card reading. So I'm going to do the card reading real quick, and then we'll give you another chance to throw out where people can find you and find more information about the Paracon. So
sounds good.
Okay, guys. So I was shuffling while I was talking this last answer. Tonight I'm using the Whispers of Healing Oracle deck, and the card that I drew was the Unexpected card. And this card is saying, so much of the world mistakenly believes that there is a lack of resources. Holding a scarcity belief can be quite painful and cause unnecessary fear and desperation. An attitude of abundance recognizes there are always new chances, unexpected windfalls, and opportunities on the way. There is never just one opportunity, a lone chance, or a single chance. The number of opportunities matches the number of stars in the sky. This card is a boon. Right now, you have a magical touch. You are going to receive good news, a huge opportunity, or something completely unexpected. Do you have a positive mindset? Believing you are abundant will really help you get through the tight times. Affirming your abundance will help shift your mindset so you can accept a life of plenty. So this card is talking about, words are hard for me tonight. I have nights where they just don't want to connect. What this card is talking about, guys, is that there's so many things that are happening right now. There's a lot of movement out there right now. And we can choose to embrace those things that are changing. We can choose to look towards them with excitement, or we can choose to look towards them with fear. And it's hard. I mean, I can tell you guys from the personal side of this that it's very hard to look at things and not fear them and not lose a little faith that it's good and that it's going to continue to be good. Been there, done that, doing that. So I think this card is very, very important to just remind yourself not to stand in your own way when these opportunities are coming your way, and to remind yourself that it's okay to just believe that something good is happening and not just wait for that other shoe to drop all the time. And it definitely, it kind of goes back to what Mike was talking about a little bit here, where your mind can control so many things. The energy that you put towards something is definitely going to help affect that outcome. So if you're constantly thinking that something's going to go wrong, something's going to go bad, you can't trust this, you can't do that, can't, is what your brain and your energy's hearing, you have to take that out of there. You have to just open yourself up to receive those good things. If you can open yourself up and believe that it's coming, that it's good, and that you deserve it, then it's going to happen for you. So that is your message for the night, guys. All right, Mike. We have 3 days until the Paracon.
Yeah, it's coming up here really quick.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
So excited. All right. One more time, just recap the Paracon. Where is it? When is it? How do people find it? Who's going to be there?
Sure. One more time. Haunted Road Media Paracon. That's at the Old Mineral Springs Hotel in Alton, Illinois, June 1st from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. And then the Paranormal Investigation following is at 8 p.m. We have a ton of guests. Can I think of them all right now? There's you.
Just go through the speaker list again, maybe.
Okay, so there's you're on there, Chris Sutton, Chuck Banks, Katie Hopkins, Vanessa Hogel, Amelia Cotter, if I could speak. Lee Ehrlich is speaking. Who am I forgetting? Southern Gypsies. So a lot of great people. And we already said earlier, like Dan Class from Hinsdale House is going to be there. Robin Terry. From Ashmore, McPike's going to be there. We have a lot of other great people like Adam Tillery is going to be there. People doing, Vanessa Salazar is going to be there from Ohio doing Reiki and other stuff. I mentioned Baphomet earlier. Lit Studios, Paranormal Endeavors is going to be there. Ursula Bilski from Chicago is going to be there. Just trying to think, go up and down the row there. Michelle Hamilton. How could I forget Michelle? So a lot of great people.
So many people, guys. And it is hard to remember everybody. So please check out the site and double check who's all coming. It's a great lineup. Guarantee you guys will have a good time. Mike, how can they find you and follow you?
Yeah, so hauntedroadmedia.com. You can get all the information for the Paracon there. The YouTube channel with all the different videos is youtube.com/hauntedroadmedia. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter. You can find me personally, MikeRicksecker.com, Instagram, and all that other fun stuff. So, yeah, we're all over the place.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Savoir Faire is everywhere.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know how busy the week before an event can be, so I really do appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat about this. But I'm talking about it all the time, so it just made sense to bring you out and talk to you about it.
I appreciate it. So, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. I look forward to seeing you this weekend, guys. Check out the event. Be sure to follow Mike and Shauna and Vanessa and all the work that they do. Mike is by far one of the hardest working guys in the industry that I know of. So
something I want to point out, there was an article that came out, I think it was last week or maybe the week before, that pointed out that we're like the only Paracon that has more women special guests than men.
I saw that. Yeah. And that was
so
that
ladies,
was
come on out.
I hadn't even, that's going to draw the guys out. Come on. No, I'm kidding. No, I hadn't stopped to think about that until I saw the article, and then I got to looking, and yeah, it is. Great job. We love our lady leaders. Well, and we're there. It's just sometimes a little harder for us, but yeah, it's a great opportunity, and not to downplay any of the guys that are there, because they're amazing guys as well. So, but that was a cool news story, and
it was really interesting.
It was fun. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and jump off. Thank you, weather gods, for not interrupting the broadcast more than it did. I didn't know what to expect as we were getting on, and they were setting up the tornado sirens a little before. I'm like, oh crap, this is going to not go well. All right, guys. Just to do some real quick shout outs before I jump off the air. I'm going to miss somebody, I'm sure. But just wanted to give a quick thank you to Kim, Shay, Matt, Wolf, Roland, Cynthia, Tim, Darren, Jen B. I'm scrolling super fast, guys, so if I miss anybody, I'm really, really sorry. Mama Pat, of course, who is also very, very excited about getting to see Mineral Springs. Chuck Anthony was in here for a while. Yeah, if I missed anybody, Andrew, who will also be at Mineral Springs this weekend. We got a lot of people coming in.
We do. It's great.
Thank you for hanging in there with me tonight, and me being a little bit distracted trying to watch the storms and everything too, so I really do appreciate that. And I will see you this weekend. If you need any help with anything, let me know. But otherwise, thank you so much. Just a quick mention, guys, for my schedule coming up. So next Wednesday night. So first off, we don't have Shay's Paranormal Chat now until June 14th. That will be the next episode of Shay's Paranormal Chat. I will not have a show next Wednesday night because I will be getting ready to head out to Gettysburg the following weekend to a metaphysical and paranormal convention out there where I'm a guest speaker. So yeah, I've got a couple really fun weekends coming up. So Alton at the Haunted Road Media Paracon this weekend, Gettysburg Paracon the weekend after that, and that's about as far as I remember out. So, because I didn't bring my calendar in with me, but thank you, everybody. Mike, if you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you Friday or Saturday. And thank you, everybody who was listening tonight, who was in live chat with us. If you're listening to the playback, thank you. I appreciate you. And I will be back in a couple weeks. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Bye.
Thank you for listening, and for all things Paranormal Buzz Radio related, check out our website at paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram.